One way science is deliberately misleading you is the way it explains the makeup of the earth and the heavenly bodies, what they call the planets. The earth, they say to look at it as a solid ball, but don't try and look at it as a solid ball. Look at what it is in sound. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word would be God. So the earth is 7 hertz, between 7 and 8 hertz. Yeah? Other planets and bodies, which are made of different gases, and they say they're lighter and you can't stand on them, they resonate at different sounds, and they all sing in the heavens before the throne of God, because God is in the center of the universe as a spirit. So there's a place called punka, and if you look at punka, it has a place that's carved out, and it looks like the inside of a woofer carved into the ground. So I'm assuming, I can't prove it, but that's where the gods rose up the stones to the heavens to make what's called in the Bible where Moab is comfortable in his lees. And when he comes down out of his lees, the fire and brimstone, all them stones that they raised up to the heavens, they fall back down to the earth, and that's when the fire and brimstone comes down. It's God says, I will rain fire on Gog and Magog. And in another verse he says, the mountains will not be found. So we're supposed to flee to the mountains. If our government was any use, they'd be starting to build cities next to the mountains and abandoning the cities that the pagans built right next to the rivers, away from the mountains. We're supposed to be living near to the mountains so we can scarper to the mountains when the abomination that maketh desolation comes. So when you look at it this way, there is a race of beings that are spoken about in all the ancient texts that rose stones up to the heavens. And if you look at a place called Puma, like the lion, the puma, the big cat, punka, yeah, there's loads of stones that were left behind, ones that are broken all, but they were raised up to the heavens on stones. The gods were, they're gods of the heathen. So how would they do that? Well, if you look at it, it's up in the Andes Mountains, and the Andes Mountains a few thousand years ago was a mad geological hotspot. So the earth makes a very strange sound just before an earthquake. So basically the earth cracks open and becomes soft, and everything flows out. So something that's lighter is, so if you're looking at the earth in sound waves, you're not looking at it as rock. You're not looking at it as sand, as muck. You're looking at it as just a sound wave. All you see is the sound wave, 7 megahertz. In a certain area, when there's an earthquake and there's gases being released, the sound wave there won't be 8 hertz, it'll be something else. It'll be the vibration of a gas planet or a gas body. So if they could amplify that sound in some way by using the earth around that place when there was an earthquake, they could raise them rocks, because them rocks wouldn't be that dense anymore, because they'd be resonating at a different sound vibration, the sound vibration of another heavenly, of a body that's lighter, and then they would gravitate. That's what would happen, because they would no longer be the density of the earth. So they would no longer be stuck in the earth, they would no longer be in the earth's place, they'd be in a different density, they'd be on a different vibration, and they'd levitate towards that vibration. Hypothetically, that's the hypothesis anyway. So when I look at places like Puma Punka, I just see a big woofer, or a big bass box. Drum and bass heads will know what I'm talking about, if they were ever dancing beside the speakers, and like me, they have tendinitis from years of having it large with the massive. So basically what you're looking at is sound vibrations. So when there's an earthquake, or a big volcanic eruption, people say they heard strange sounds. Always people say, oh, we heard this strange noise before it happened. That strange noise could be what they used to levitate giant massive blocks up into the earth. And then when they seen that happen to people who didn't know, they would have worshipped these mad ancient scientists with angelic intellect as gods, and they would have stole their energy. Because I was also looking at another thing, and it looks like when a person The Vedas, what it was about the Veda, well, not a Veda, what, it's in the Vedas, but what's them things called? Some ancient flying machine anyway. You see the people squatting. It's carved on the side of the rock. You see people squatting in a praying position, what they pray to the Hindu gods, Buddha and all that. But what they're actually doing is they're giving energy to the flying machine. That's how they're using your electromagnetic force field to fly around, because instead of you giving your homage to the one true God, the most high God, the creator, you've been duped into sitting in the Kundalini squat, so the Kundalini serpent can wiggle up through your arse and steal your energy. So what I see when I see people squatting down in the Buddha Hindu squat to pray to Krishna or any one of these pagan deities, these other deities, basically they're giving their energy away. And once you start to give that energy away, you start to age, you start to get worn out. You're worn out of all your energy has been taken, because you were given energy to live forever. That's why after the resurrection and the fire and brimstone, you get your vapor back and you do live forever if you remain faithful to God, the Most High God. But if you start chasing after other gods, you're condemned. He doesn't want to know you. You had all the opportunity in the world to repent of your evil and not to build rock-hard temples and stuff like that, and not to praise heathen gods. So as you give that energy away, you also give your soul away. So these creatures that duped your, if you believe in these, that duped your ancient fathers back in the day to venerate them as gods, they just robbed you. They robbed you of eternity. So when you look at a planet, you don't look at it as it's a dense gas ball. It resonates at a certain vibration. The Earth resonates between 7 and 8. Other planets are probably 6, some are 14, some are 20, some are even lower. But what makes they resonate at that, and then if you test them, they're really light and gassy and fluffy. So if, say, the giant gas ball planet resonates at 5, if when the sound from the earthquake comes out of the earth and it can be resonated, and it resonates at 5 and everything around it resonates at 5, it's no longer actually the dense rock mass that it was. It's actually now a floating ball of gas because of the sound wave and the vibration. Does that make sense to us? Because some people can levitate because of sound. That's what they reckon. I felt like I was levitating a few times at the jungle deals off my head on the beanies, but you know, sometimes the ground vibrates and goes when you hear the big sound waves off the drum and bass speakers, loads of sound waves. So basically that's how I think they brought the vibrations up. So in order to bring it down, if we're pulling down all the temples, it doesn't do it, but we can get actually up near where Moab, Gilgamesh, Cain is. We can whack his rocks with a sound wave that'll make it dense, that'll make the vibration change, and then it'll fall to the earth. Then we can get him.